Oklahoma. 4:05 on my computer. 4:05 on my phone. We'll call the meeting to order of the Durant Community Facilities Authority, and we will call the roll.
Okay. And Trustee Baxter,
Here.
Trustee Blackburn,
Here.
Trustee Dillard,
Here.
Trustee Dean, Trustee Grover,
Here.
Trustee Miller, Trustee Morris, Vice Chairman Pierce, Chairman Webb.
Here. Outstanding. Thank you. Just two items on our order of business, and one is consideration of approval of the filing of the Durant Community Facilities Authority fiscal 22-23 budget with Durant City Council. I remember the process last year, but it's been a whole year, so if you can refresh our memory on some things, yeah.
This is regularly that we have the financial plan for the Durant Community Facility Authority, and then they have to file with City Council, and the City Council will accept this budget, financial plan, I should say that.
Financial plan, yeah, okay. There we go.
Is there any question?
50,000-foot view question. Any abnormalities or anything that would throw up a red flag if you looked at this and said, gosh, this looks different?
Well, I think this is really.
It's pretty simple.
The expense
Yep.
is really regularly.
Sure.
So you will not see any surprise on anything
Yeah.
here. Yeah. And I have to say those, there's a one line, so called the projection, that is just generate from our financial software. So it's not, I cannot say it's 100% accurate. They just estimate based on past few years, the
Correct.
information.
Okay. Other questions? Anybody? One thing, and I just remember, the back page, just in our transfer total, 2021 was a little over $1 million, then we dropped down to 478, and then a little further down to 379, and then $1,098,000. What is the, kind of what's that trend there? The other numbers are all relatively close, but there was a,
You mean from the 2021 to 20, you are talking
oh, I'm
about-
looking at 20, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, that projected for 22, 23 is a significant increase. I was just curious. What?
Okay, the 22, 23, we transferred the, some 675,000 for the capital improvement.
Okay,
Yeah, for the, I think it's parking lot paving, and there's some storage or something? You have to,
The DMSC improvements.
yeah. I know one is for the parking lot improvement, and another one is,
Oh, for the $60,000 for bins for so we can put ball field clay and stuff so it doesn't get contaminated.
Turfus and whatnot, yeah,
And
got it.
all that, so we have that.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And it was the paving project at the sports complex? Got it, okay. Okay. Any other questions? And so this is a motionable and vote for the filing. So it's not typically it would just be our financials at the regular meeting or just a information item, but this is, okay, so I would open the floor for any motions or comments.
I move we file the DCFA fiscal year 2022-23 budget with the Durant City Council.
Have a motion? And a second? Nope. Let me vote here, don't we? That appears to be unanimous. All right, so we're good. Halfway through. Second item on our agenda, discussion, consideration, and possible action on requesting forensic audit by the Oklahoma State Auditor and Inspector. And within your packet, you should have received a memorandum that kind of details the process that goes through the State Auditor and the Forensic Audit Division. And John, I know that memo was one that you had forwarded. You want to give us kind of some background, some detail on that?
Yes, sir. The city council voted 3-1 to have a forensic audit conducted. And for the audit to be conducted on each authority has to vote to be part of that. This audit, the city of Durant would absorb the entire cost, and that cost is estimated between $30,000 and $60,000. The auditor says that they're about 12 to 18 months out from when the audit would actually occur, from once they get a request, and all entities request should be received at the same time. So they only audit a 2-year period. If they find something in that 2 years that takes them outside of that 2 year, then they look at that. They follow that trail. I don't know. So I can entertain any other questions.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Does the city do a non-forensic audit on everything each year? Is
Yes,
that-
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Every authority is audited by a third-party auditor every year. By state law, we have to do that, so, and that's reported in.
So what were the red flags that came up that caused the city council to want to adhere to a forensic audit based on those normal audits coming up?
I don't know that there were any red flags that led to that. You have 3 council members here. You know, maybe that question would be better posed to one of them if they wanted to speak on that, as opposed to the manager, so.
Well, I'd like to hear from any of you 3. What did you guys see?
One of the problems that bothered me, we're constantly getting complaints and accusations from citizens and others about all sorts of funny things, and a forensic audit will basically either verify those complaints, but more than likely it will give us a clean slate to go forward from. Basically, we can tell them to stop it.
So will those forensic audits be a full audit of everything in the city of Durant?
For a 2-year period, that we will most likely be the latest 2 years, I would think. We're not specifically going back to any particular time that I'm aware of.
So I was under the impression that the DIA decided against voting for that, so they'll be excluded from that?
That is correct.
Okay. So it won't be an entire audit then?
Not of every authority of the city. That is correct.
Question. If they are a year out from me from performing the audit, what years would they be auditing?
That hasn't been determined as far as I know.
According to the state auditor's office, that'll be determined as we get closer to the audit period. When it actually gets scheduled, then it'll have to be determined what periods they actually look at, so. Because, like they said, you could change your mind in the next 12 to 18 months of what you want looked at.
So there's no one specific reason for the audit to be called, other than maybe some concerned citizens that
Well, everybody has concerns, I mean, it's not,
But nothing has shown up in the internal audits that the city already does.
That is correct. We have had no negative
issue,
findings
yeah.
in several years.
Have we offered to give the concerned citizens the audits from the auditor that we do every year as maybe a stopgap to keep us from spending $60,000 that we don't have?
Our audits are open record. They're posted on the website. They're easily accessible, so.
Okay.
and we do have the money.
Well, you have money for that, but, I mean, there's all kinds of things like street repair and things like that need to be done too, so I would argue that we don't.
Would the general public know the difference between a forensic audit and just a yearly audit that we do? Because if they don't, then we're spending $60,000 for,
That would totally depend on the results of the audit. And it would be at no expense to this authority. And no more complicated than we seem to be. This budget is a good example. I would guess it would be a pretty quick thing for them to do, and cannot imagine anything bad happening.
Would the public be satisfied, though, if certain entities can opt out? If we do a
Obviously.
forensic audit and then half of the boards that there are have opted out, I don't think I wonder if they would be satisfied with that.
Not all of them, I can promise you.
That's what I mean.
Well,
That we can agree
For
on.
that matter, you're never going to please everyone anyway, so will a forensic audit even be, that's my point of spending the money on that is, if it won't appease everybody, you're still going to have people who have problems with, the way the city's.
It would not appease anyone that's done anything wrong, I can promise you that.
I just have a question, just working with auditors all the time. When you say forensic audit, that raises red flags in itself, and that would just, I don't know, I just think that leaves a negative eye on things. You're doing a forensic audit, why are you doing a forensic audit? Well, we just decided to. I mean, I just don't think it's a good idea to spend our money that way when we're not looking for something in particular. We're trying to please someone, and by calling a forensic audit, you're bringing attention to something you don't want attention to because there's nothing there.
The audits that we do are extremely general, and a forensic audit basically drills down deeply to the transaction level and just is a much more thorough, much more well-explained transactions than the regular audit. Or they wouldn't exist, believe me.
my concern would be if we voted it down, does it look like we're hiding something here on this authority? If we go ahead and vote it down, is it cheaper because we aren't going to be audited?
No, sir.
So it doesn't really matter. Does that make sense? It doesn't really matter if we voted, it's only going to be a negative for
As
us.
far as the expense, no.
Yeah.
When does this board end? When does it come, so by the time we get there, we could not even be able to, right.
That's possible.
So the audit's happening.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
period. Yeah. It's just going to depend on which areas get audited.
Which entities are part of it, yes, sir.
In my humble opinion, this authority has nothing to lose. And the thing that we have to gain is a clean slate.
Who has that to gain?
Do
City?
what?
The city has that to gain?
No, this
Or
authority.
the authority?
The authority.
Yeah.
City's already made the decision, the audit's happening.
Why did the industrial authority go against that?
You'll have to ask them. I don't know.
I assume it will be the same years for every authority board that will be audited?
Yes, ma'am, it would have to be.
Okay.
And what is, like, is there a window of time? I know we're looking 12 to 18 months out, but is there a window from 2010, would there be a window that they would have to select from, or how does that?
They only go 5-year window back is
Got
what
it,
they
'cause
start
that's-
from,
yeah,
right?
sure,
So,
yeah.
so it's a moving
Okay,
target at this
got it,
point.
yeah.
So,
5 years ago today, but in 18 months, 5 years ago from then. Got it. Okay. And then I would just also ask, just based on some of the questions, so it's public record for our annual audits, would there be a kind of a platform or a format that results, or would it just be the same kind of general format to maybe reveal that or have that available to citizens, the ones that maybe express their concerns? Is there, I mean, I don't know that there'd be any, not like a press release or anything, but is there, it would just be public record and
I
that's
mean,
it?
with the forensic
With the
audit,
forensic, yeah.
I believe we would treat it the same way we treat every other audit.
Okay, yeah, okay. Okay.
If our authority gets audited, they find something negative in ours, does that go on us? I mean, are we ultimately who are responsible for that?
Yes, sir.
That answers my question.
I think that might depend on what they found too, you know. I think if there was something negative found, what that negative thing was would have a great bearing on who's responsible for what.
Are there
Well,
a,
well, I think your question was if there was something found that this authority had done, would it be on this authority? Is that correct?
Yes.
Then, yes. If it was something the city done, it would not have any effect on what this authority did. So,
Yes, specifically.
is there a frequency of these forensic audits? So for example, Mike, you said concerned citizens want a forensic audit, so we're going to do a forensic audit to clear the slate and soothe everybody out. What if after that's done, the next day I decide I want a forensic audit, and I'm a concerned citizen, are we going to do another one? I mean, how many are we going to do?
We can't really say we're doing this, at least in my opinion, because of one or more concerned citizens. That's an example of one reason we might. I just feel like that most entities undergo a forensic audit occasionally to make sure that they're doing things the way they should, and I believe this is our first one, right?
I think a forensic for me, by its very, just by its very
Investigate
name,
is the word.
is typically I think the word is cause. But I worked in finance for many years, and we were audited internally and externally, but never forensically. But just point of reference, it does indicate to me, as you said, it indicates that we've found something wrong, and it requires a forensic look at evidence to determine if there's wrongdoing. I would, just personal opinion, I guess I would, citizens are always going to be concerned, I guess, and there's always going to be one particular thing that if they have a concern that they voice that they would mention. I guess I'm just looking for my own vote, and I'm open either way. I want a clean slate. I want to be squeaky clean. I guess I would need something to tell me that we're going to look at this because we feel like there could be an issue, and that's what we want to.
I don't believe this authority had any factor whatsoever in the council wanting a forensic audit for the city.
Right.
But it so happens that to achieve that audit, each authority has to be given the opportunity to be
Right.
included at no cost to them.
Right.
And the DIA chose not to, and
Yeah.
this authority can
Okay.
do whatever it wants.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I apologize, but, because I probably should read the minutes on the city council meetings themselves. But when was this brought up and when was it approved?
It was April,
Yeah.
I believe the 20,
It's been within the last
Seven.
couple months.
it was at a special meeting. It was the end of April.
Was there an option to not do it, I guess? Because I think kind of along Mark's theme, you know, and what you said, Mike, you're not going to please everybody all the time. And the word forensic audit in itself brings about some concern. And to me, that, the publication of a forensic audit coming in may be more concerning to citizens than, hey, well, there is something wrong. And no matter what the outcome is, because there is something wrong.
I guess I would have to disagree with you there. Forensics could be a little bit too stout of a word for it. Just a more detailed audit that gives you things that a regular audit, which is very vague, doesn't. You know,
But that's not what we're being asked to do. We're not being asked to do a more detailed audit. We're being asked to do a forensic audit.
you're not being asked to do
Yeah,
anything. We're being
We
given.
are as an authority, we're being
given-
asked to
No.
ask if this authority will do a forensic audit.
We're giving
Or
the
be a
authority the
part of it.
opportunity to either request it or not request it. We're not asking them which one to do. We're asking them to do one or the other.
That's the same thing,
No, it's not.
yes. I move we call for a vote to accept the city's recommendation for forensic audit.
Have a motion on the floor
Second.
and a second. Any other discussion before we vote? There's the vote, all right. Have voted 3-6. The motion will fail. Other discussion, we have no other agenda item.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.
Who did the second on that one? Oh, thank you.
Karen Grover.
Thank you. Is there anyone who does not want to adjourn because my votes fell off my screen? So if there's someone that wants to stay, just let me know.
Anyone
Otherwise,
opposed
I'm
to
going-
adjournment, say aye. There are none. Thank you for your service and thank you for your time. We're adjourned.